Hello, hello. Welcome to. I was thinking, why am I doing that when I'm on the snowball, I believe? Let me just quickly check. I'm on RTX voice, which means I'm on snowball. Hello, hello. Welcome to my stream. It is Saturday morning. It is 6:20 a.m. and it is fantastic. This is going to probably be my last stream for a little while. We are moving house, so we've got some exciting news there, but. I will try and do some streaming in between that. It's just going to be a little bit more intermittent to what it is at the moment because, again, I'm pretty busy in the weekends and also pretty tired. So let's go ahead and have a bit of a squiz of what has been going on recently. First things first, I need to go and have a quick squiz and get all the bits and pieces. Quick actions. Quick actions. Just trying to get my stream managed. Alrighty, well let's alright, let's get started. So first things first. We have a problem. Obviously there's always problems when you're going down the journey of going down the path of trying to do a new product, releasing that new product, and finding that it has performance issues when running in production. So when we call our web app, a function app publicly, so let's actually go ahead and do that. We're going to see a major performance slowdown. I was actually forever can't remember the actual URL, so give me a second. Alright, so if we go /API, this is public, anyone can use it, there's no problem with that. We can go, I think it's copy sentiment alpha. And then we can go dollar username equals max power 443. I think that's it. I can't remember what my URL endpoint is now. I'm just going to quickly suss it out. Functions. Let's get sentiment. What did I think it was that? So let's just quickly chuck that in like so. So now this is running an actual sentiment check. You know, I haven't actually done a quick voice check. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just quickly make sure that everyone can actually hear me. 2 seconds. All right, that's good. Sweet. All right, so you can see here in the background it's running. We can actually connect. We're going to have to write some additional logging into this to kind of try and figure out where it's slowing down. But you can see in here, if I'm just going to bring up the actual metrics for this site. Can I pop this out on a different panel? It'd be great if I can. Oh. I might be able to open that in a new panel. I think I can. So I'm just going to see if I can. Okay, perfect. So if we have a quick squiz at this, you can see in here, we are triggering the function. You can also see for some reason we are getting 400 mega RAM. I don't know why that's the case. It shouldn't be doing that for what I understand. And it is running busy. It is a busy service. Now it's returned. You can see now we've got content, great. But if we actually jump on the EU, let's actually take a closer look at one of these guys. Something's got a. I've been using this bloke because he's got a lot of content. If we trigger him, it's going to make a liar out of me probably. You can see. We can see that it is. Should be triggering. Can't see the trace. What time is 26:24? 40 seconds. 6:22. Okay. It hasn't. I'm guessing it hasn't shown it yet. Because that should be showing that telemetry. You can still see it's loading. and this is going to time out. So essentially, function act will time itself out because it's been running for too long. So that leaves a problem and questions to be answered. How we're going to actually fix this? So realistically, it needs to be converted into a durable function. Ultimately, these are activities that what's happening is when we down in here, we need to scrape a lot of data. Okay, so I've just got some sample telemetry back. What we got? We got a trace. Hasn't provided much context. So if we so it needs to go through and scrape each of the posts. So what it does is to improve performance, it starts a thread job for each of those posts. And once it's completed that, what it will do then is it will then be able to pull all that data, collate it, and then return it. The problem here is that actually I'll probably just stick that if we're just calling user post add. I think we'll just call the add method. That might need to change, but I think we might be able to do it. We can do that. Anyway, that all aside. So what is probably happening? Yeah, so obviously it's collating all that data, and then we can actually go and get the sentiment. I think what's happening is it's just getting caught up on these thread jobs. So I know this runs locally, so I don't think it's a problem with the content that's on the actual endpoint. I think it's a problem with the actual performance of the service itself. We should be still hanging. You can see it's quite busy, so this would lead me to believe, oh, there's a massive spike. This would lead me to believe that this server is just not able to do what it needs to do. So what we can probably do is these thread jobs can just be activity functions inside our actual durable function, which wouldn't take that long to write. So we can just write a quick activity function. And it'll also be an opportunity for us to actually learn durable functions with PowerShell. Now it's super preview, but it's still an opportunity there. All right. So while we still wait for the inevitable 500 error, we will start to have a quick squiz at durable function for PowerShell. There should be a link to this. So this is in 2019. Okay, Justin's wrote a quick start. Fantastic. Fan out, okay, so it supports function chaining, fan out, fan in, async, HTTP APIs. In order to try it out, switch your app to PowerShell 7. Follow these instructions. You can find samples in here. Okay, perfect. Try this out on Azure. Okay. So what do we got here? How to try durable function. Feature is getting ready for public preview. Use a production process program model might change. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, get started using a dev container or remote containers. Consider the following these instructions to simplify the steps. I think I need to run this in my Docker container. Well, this is going to be an interesting, interesting journey. It's always interesting. Let's have a look. So, make a new function, a directory of your choice. Download sample durable function, extract the. to your function app, so just extract it into that. Direct expression. Start storage emulator. Alright. The first thing is let's connect to our Docker container. Reopen a container. So while waiting for that image to build, I'll have a quick look. Should check that to build. Very interesting. So under local settings.json, apparently there's a PowerShell version. Add member. So let's get content, go from JSON, add member, member type, functions runtime value 7, local settings, go to JSON add file, function sentence. Okay. Alright, well, while we're waiting for that, because then once we can get we can go ahead and install 7 in our container once it's started, and then we can go ahead and put it. To convert this to a durable function app, I don't expect it to take that long. If we've got all the activities in place, I think the hardest thing is probably just going to be essentially replacing a lot of the code, kind of recycling a bit of the code there, because it relies on a bit of extra stuff there. So yeah. Function called durable functions, quick start windows. Let's have it. Looks like it needs a storage emulator too, it looks like. Use scoop to install storage emulator. I think storage emulator install. Yeah, I got Storage Explorer. Did I delete it? No, I've got Storage Emulator. And Azure Function Core Tools. Yeah. So PowerShell 7, which I've got dev builds. Make a new function. Download the sample dribble. Okay, I'm just going to kind of like re-go through this. Durable experiment instructions. When was this written? 8 days ago. Great. Yes. Get started with a dev container. Consider following these instructions as they automate and simplify that process. Install the latest PowerShell worker build manually. I'm going to be putting it in a container because I think that's probably going to be the better way forward. Open container, yeah. Developer. Oh, what do we got? Always love it when it's okay, let's try and reopen container. Let's just close it and restart it. Yeah, let's reopen the container. and I don't. Open folder and container. Let me just do that. Open voice. Okay, I can just do this, and then we can do this. There we go. Right, so now we can reopen our container. You should see VS codes connected in the bottom left corner. That's. I think I need to actually install that specific. Starting with that. Oh, why are you having issues? Because it can't actually bind the folder. This is one of the problems I have with Docker. After you patch it, for some reason it breaks, and then you have to go and reinstall Docker from scratch, and it's so annoying. Let me see if I can actually. These directories, is there advanced resources? I don't want that. Where are your? It's changed again. What is my Docker image in C drive? Okay. Let's just giving it. Just added the image. It looks like they've changed the permissions here. So previously you could assign a drive letter, and now it looks like you can just mount directories, which is alright. So I might save a bit of. I'm just gonna give it a bit more memory. Give it 3 gig. Wait for that to restart, and then we'll try and reload our window, and hopefully we can get this running. Prerequisites: Azure subscription, an editor, Docker. You must be running Linux Docker. Note development essential. Yep, that's fine. Starts and converts. Yep, cool. All right, just wait for this to load. Waiting for a VM to start, which shouldn't take that long. Yeah, it's running. It's running with its 3 gig. I'll just reload it, see if it can bind to it. Docker return an error. Make sure the daemon's running. Ah, damn it. Fuck. No. I think it's doing something in the back end then, if it's reconfiguring something. That's okay. So, yeah, reopen Docker. Okay, that's done. Perfect. I should be able to reload this. Hopefully. It should be online. So what's the Docker image that we need? Okay. Yeah, fair bit of work involved. That's all right. That is okay. We are running in our dev container. Fantastic. All right, sweet. Cool. All right. So let's keep cracking on. So next thing I want to quickly do is let's have a look at these samples. Oh gosh. Option 1 and start the development environment. Yes. So we started the development. Choose one of the following options for the following. Yes. Okay, we've done that. Open the samples workspace. Okay, where is the code? Is the code? Okay, I'm guessing it's this one here. So we're just gonna go ahead and clone it. There we go. Function fan out, fan in. Yeah, this is it here. These are your functions there. Actually, no, it's just a function chain. We just need fan out, fan in. So what does it need? You got Orchestrator. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and clone this anyway. We'll just bring this down, have a quick look at it, and then we just add the integration into our app. So let's do that. So let's go and just download a zip. We don't really want that. I just kind of want to have a quick squiz at this. Let's just put this in non-git code. Alright, so we have here the first function app, which is file enables automatic functionality. Yeah. So it requires app 3, cold start. Okay, so it's pretty standard. I don't really see anything sort of jumping out at me at the moment. That is one thing that we will need to do is configure our endpoint to have. We're going to need to add some storage, a blob storage account to our chat so we can use. We can keep track of state. Good stuff. All right. What's object? Okay. Nothing really much in there. Let's just have an actual look at this folder. All right. It's interesting. They just set the intent to social worker PS7. Okay, so that's what we're gonna need to do. Wait for the next higher release, higher than 3 of Azure Function Core Tools. What am I running? Let's have a quick look. Admin mode programs. Is that an actual Docker image that you have? Do I have to? Must be running. Yeah. Is there a Docker file? I don't see one. Alright, you know what? Let's do this. Got Azure Functions. What is it wants to use? What Docker image? PowerShell durable functions. Alright. Let's see PowerShell durable functions. Just code connector. Samples.workspace. PowerShell durable preview dev container. PowerShell durable preview dev container. Where's your container? There's your container there. There's your container there. Okay, okay. So essentially you have a container that's, okay, that makes sense. Where's your Docker file? Alright, this is what we're gonna do. Just gonna grab that dev container and we're gonna pop it in here. What's it in the panel? Okay, because they don't publish the whole thing. Okay. Let's just go ahead. Okay, so that's the our dev container there. Perfect. So we need to grab our dev container for that. I'm just going to quickly and then just add that. Copy. Let's just disconnect. Just gonna open this in Beyond File Explorer. I'll just do it in Explorer itself. Place sorted. Let's reopen. Okay, so now we just rebuild the container, which is good. That means that we can actually get our stuff working. Cool. All right. So while waiting on that, it shouldn't take that long to rebuild. What we can do is now we can actually focus on getting this running. So from what I see, it's pretty straightforward. So you have your fan out, fan in. Standard launch. There are some extra settings in there. So I'm pretty much just going to copy a whole bunch of that over. We've got some tasks. That's fairly standard. think we might be spending a bit of time messing around trying to get this to work, but that's cool. As long as we can get the function app to start, it'll recognize that that's just a normal standard HTTP function. Then we can actually add chaining and things like that in it. But if we want to like fan in and out, it's just a new orchestration, and then we just start that, and then we just wait for that request to come back. I'm guessing this just pauses execution until that is completed. So yeah. I don't think this is technically running in a, it'll be interesting to see if this is actually running as a durable function or whether it's not, because what I have a sneaky suspicion is going to happen is, because it's still going to run under a consumption plan, I still think it's limited to those 120-second or the 10-minute or 5-minute runtime. So, a fair bit of stuff we need to copy over to. But to be honest, I'm just going to literally do a straight copy and replace. Alright, so that's up and running. We've got a dev container running, so this is probably going to break catastrophically. Yep. Did not find default worker path. Did not find functions with the language PowerShell. So there's a fair bit of stuff we still need to do, but that's okay. So what we're going to do here is just going to reveal. What we're going to do is I'm just going to copy over all those settings into it. So let's open that in a new window, and then we're just going to pretty much just go through and copy those bits and pieces. Where's it? Oh, it's an old git code. PowerShell master. Okay, it's just the Docker. Then we have an out pan in. So I'm just going to literally do a straight copy by place. Where's my other one? This is pretty much going to break everything, but that's okay. Do I have anything in local settings? Alright. Proxies, requirements. Okay, so what do we have? That's chain. Okay, so we've got some host changes. That's fine. And then we need to debug. I'm just going to copy this in. Object. No idea what that is. That's alright. I'm just going to copy that in. That should be it. Just going to have a quick look at the profile.ps1, make sure there's nothing that's going to cause issues. You can see that's stock standard. Everything else is good to go. So that means, give us another crack. There we go. Now it's running. So we've got all our settings in and running. The next thing we need to do is I wonder how that they're managing storage, because it's technically not needing Storage Explorer when it's in a Docker container. So I don't know what it's going to be using, which is interesting. Anyway, so let's go ahead and just trigger it, see if it's still good and it's all good. So we'll just get sentiment, just make a username. See if this looks like it's working. First manage dependency, download. Okay, so it's still downloading dependencies. That's fine. Jump and get cracking and make a quick commit while we're doing this. So I can quickly okay, that's working. Perfect. All right, and configuration items. Just made a quick push into dev so we can get this setting done. Oh, this is done. Good. All right, cool. All right, so that's working. So you can see here, we are good to go. So, function app, A-OK. That is great. That's really good outcome. So, next thing we need to focus on is what we want to do is have a bit of a look at our actual fan out, fan in configuration. So I'm just going to write a really basic function app so we can kind of get a bit of an idea how this works. Actually, I can just copy the existing ones. We can just do that. Let me just grab fan out, fan in. What we can do is do this. Not the best idea, but at least it'll help us articulate what's going on, and then I can literally convert my code. So you can see here we got fan out, fan in orchestrator. I'm guessing this is the start. So okay. Request trigger metadata. I think this is, yeah, this is our start. This is our orchestration. Parallel task reach. Wait for activity function. Yep. Okay, so and then our activity function itself will be this. So that's just going to be, so we're going to need to rewrite our function to essentially be that. And then from that we can go from there. So let's quickly start it and have a quick play. Yes, that's what I thought. But missing value for web job storage. So let's go to jobs. And settings.json. Oh, where do we put it? That was my problem, is where do we put it? Where do we put it? Let's go back to the docker, have a quick read. It's done that, open the samples, run the chainings. Yeah, where did you put the configuration? I betcha. Hang on, let me just quickly have a quick squeeze. Okay, it's not there. Okay, so he's opened that. Two things we can do. Oh, okay, in order to debug, here's storage account. Should do that. If you have not used what to debug, you must use a storage account for external use by Azure Functions. Okay, so we need to create a storage account. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly do that. let's just go ahead and quickly create a storage account. I'm just going to call it function app. Actually, no, I need to press what. Storage account. Create. We'll just call this dribble function app. Field content. Okay. Can someone explain to me why that it can't use this? Can someone explain to me why that function when you create instances like a storage account instance, this account name has to be lowercase? I just find that really intuitive. Oh, sorry, intuitive. I find that kind of really just unusual because most people I like to write in camel case just to help make it a little bit easier to read. Yeah. We just need a general purpose v2. We don't really need any sort of replication. It's not really that important. Let's get some selected networks. Secure transfer, large files, blah, 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 blah. We don't want soft delete. We're just going to go ahead and bin the whole lot. That's all good. Go ahead and create that, please. Okay, validation is passed. Yes, please go ahead and create my storage account. We're just going to chuck it into a storage account online and then be done with it. Oh man, it's been so long since I've done this part. Just gonna have a quick squeeze of what I need to actually put in there. No, where's my resource groups? I need to quickly go and have a look at my summit talk. My function app. Automation account. App service. Sorry, okay, so the automation task. Then we had app keys. No, where was it? Where was my configuration? There it is. So what do I do here? Okay. So I've just given it a big old name. Default endpoints protocol, HTTPS, account name. Right, while waiting on that, we might as well actually start writing this. I'm not going to push this. I'm just going to exclude this change. Yeah, I'll do that. What do I gotta do? This whole thing and check it on Notepad. What do I have to do? I think I just need to, once that's created, get that, paste that in, and then we're good to go. Alright, so while we're doing that, I'm just gonna, once that's created, I'll just lock it to my IP, and then we can go ahead and do what we need to do. So that should have been done now. So let's go ahead and jump on my, should be, storage account. Here it is. Hello. All right, cool. All right. Access keys. Before we do that, firewalls and virtual networks, selected networks. virtual network. That's fine. Save. I'm probably going to totally forget about this configuration, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to go and I'm going to go ahead and then do this, and then it's all going to break, and I'm going to be like, fantastic. That's all right though. What we can do is we can do that, and that should be good to go. Okay, we've got an error. We've got a start. All right, fan out, orchestrator functions error. Binding type orchestration trigger is not registered. Please ensure that type is correct and the binding extension is installed. Say hello is an error. Okay, so there's some functions that we need to fix. So let's go ahead and fix those. It's not registered. Please ensure the correct type. Okay, perfect. Alright, so we don't have storage issues anymore. Good. So the next thing we need to do is fix our function apps and why they are erroring. Good stuff. So let's try and fix that. And it's just the binding type orchestration trigger is not registered. Off to old trusty DuckDuckGo. Extensions installed. It's not good now. Let's just try this. Good old DuckDuckGo. Lots of waiting around, but that's what we get for deciding to completely lift and shift our product into a completely different one. So pretty much add a new technology on top. We're going to have issues. So how is everybody's Friday night or really early Saturday morning or Saturday morning going? All right, so we've got that completed. So let's give this a go and see if this fixes it. Full functions found. Fantastic. Oh, look at that. There we go. I always love it when it's things like that that are super easy. All right, so essentially we should be able to just do a get on this if it supports get, which it does. So we just go hit that, see what happens. Okay, cool. So you can see here we have an ID. Essentially, this is an object that gets returned containing all the instance information on that function. So if we were to query this endpoint here, you could actually get our status of that specific job. And you can see here we've got the name, the instance, the status, the input. So that's pretty much moved. That's lift and shifted. So we actually have a working function, Drupal function app now in PowerShell. So that's really cool. So let's go ahead and stop this. Very interesting now because we're now going to, I now have a bit of an idea what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is we actually need to write a function app to pretty much accept all our code and pass it back. This function app will be from get sentiment. This function app is going to need to be converted, but that's fine, so we can do that. So what we need to do here now, you can see here we've got a lot of content. Now, these it's a whole bunch of functions that it needs. I don't think there's any functions included in this, so the activity function app should be able to reference from the profile.ps1. I'm hoping. If it doesn't, we're going to have to deal with that. But ultimately, it pretty much should be a straight lift and shift, with the exception to the pre-initialization code, which will just be a straight copy and paste. Okay, so let's. So what is this code actually doing? Because we've got functions to include. Scrape all that juicy data. Okay, so we're scraping data. So let's call this function app scrape data. So let's go ahead, create a new function. I'm just going to copy it from say hello, just because we don't have to worry about anything here. So let's just go and rename it, and let's just call it scrape. Let's call it scrape web post. That's going to be our function. You can see here it's just an activity trigger in. Okay, that's cool. All right, so there's that param name, and essentially what we can do now is I'm just going to kind of strip these into archive. This way I can kind of just clean this up a bit. All right, so what we can do now is let's go ahead and grab our, get rid of that, grab our run, oh, not web post, get sentiment. Just trying to find that. We don't need this. I don't think we need this. Actually, I'm going to keep this just in case, but I don't think we need this. So I'm just going to grab our pre-initialization code, go to, right, just going to keep that open, and then I'm going to keep my other one open as well. So this is our pre-initialization code. Essentially, this loads the actual this loads our code. It's our code. This loads our web scraper, the HTML agility pack DLL. We've got location.py. Okay, location, that's fine. So then we've got parameter name. So obviously we're passing content in. The question is what arguments is it passing? So I can see when we so argument list is the post, the HTML doc, and the ID counter. So we can essentially lift and shift that in. I hope it can take multiple parameters, but I'm going to have to serialize it as a JSON object. An ID counter. Actually, why did I do that? And I can just literally grab the. I don't think that's. Find out. Where's my script block? What's that script block? That script block. Here it is. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, so now one thing is that how do we actually return the content? So if we've got fan out, fan in, orchestrator start, push output binding, check status response. Okay, it's checking the status, but it's not actually checking the result, the output. Parallel tasks. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. I'm guessing we just write output. I'm guessing that's how it works. I'm kind of like, hang on, let's have a quick look at what the activity was in our backup. Go to archive, and then we have a quick look at run here. Okay, it's just there's no real output, so you can see actually no, hello name is write output. Okay, cool. All right, so we just do a write output, and then that should be good to go. So if we get scraping our post, me just doing this, like so, we can then essentially, it'll automatically write output. I might just null that, just to make sure that we don't have any sort of shenanigans. So I don't want to have multiple outputs. I don't think it will, because it usually turns null, but it's always safe, better to be safe than sorry. So can't find the agility pack. Good to go. Start scraping. It's got the inputs, object ID. Okay, so that's pretty much ready to rumble. So the next thing we need to do is actually create an orchestrator. So I can see we have an orchestrator. Invoke activity function, wait activity function. So what does start do? Okay, this is the actual HTTP start. This is our HTTP start. Okay, cool. So then this is our orchestrator. So it basically then triggers the orchestration. So I need to now lift and shift my code into an orchestration. So let's go ahead and do that. This is really messy at the moment. And we can probably get rid of thread jobs after this. So that's actually really good. That'd be good as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to go ahead and put these in archive. So kind of make it a little bit easier to read. So the next thing we need to do is create a new function app. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the orchestrator now. I'm just going to paste, and then we're just going to call this that's an archive. Now one of the parent folder. Move please. So we're just going to call this get we call it start sentiment collection. We can see it's an orchestration. Good to go. All right, perfect. So now we've got our context. That's normal. I'm just going to call this, rename that, grab that, and do a quick write host like so. Now we have our parallel tasks. So I think this is where it's going to get interesting. For each name in Tokyo, so you can see essentially what's going to happen is we have a variable, so I need to convert my code so that it's essentially sits inside that. Or I could build a list of tasks that can be passed. Oops. That can be invoked. So that's probably going to be what I'm going to do here. Because we've got an input as a name, so essentially it's just going to pass those parameters in, and then we're not going to. Well, we could actually just wait for it. Oh no, it's no, we're not going to wait for it. We're going to basically wait for it at the very end. So essentially, we're fanning out, wait for it all to come back, and then we'll collect our tasks. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to need to do here is let's go and have a quick squiz at. Just looking around what we're going to be doing. What are we going to be doing here? Okay, so if we go to get sentiment, I'm going to leave these in place for the time being. Ultimately, these will need to kind of be flicked off into, it's kind of, like, I don't think we need that. Don't think we need that. like this can be flicked off into its own activity function. Realistically, and it's just kind of, it's more focusing on it as an orchestration. To be honest, we might actually do that. Build the initialize. Look for more pages. Scrape all that juicy data. We don't need this. We need an ID counter because we need to join all that data back. Okay, so let's firstly submit username. So let's, okay, first things first, let's do that then. So we need to now get an activity function. So we're going to just go ahead and copy web scrape post because I'm pretty sure these need to actually be scrape web post, start sentiment collection. Oh shoot. Okay. We need to rename this. I've got my function apps in the wrong directory. Let's just get let's go get user content. Let's call that, and then let's just scrape that, move that, move that. So what we're going to do now, get user content. So we can pretty much do this. Essentially we can scrape all that content until page expiry. So, and then what we can do here, that's that sentiment collection, get user context. I'll get user. Actually, oops, no. I'm essentially just going to call this get user. I think get user content is just a little bit meh. So what we can do here is we got our initialization, and we can just paste it here. And then what we can do here is grab that. It's a string. Drop that in. Well, it matches until page expiry. And we're getting the web history. Now, this is not really that difficult to, like, this is not that performance intensive. So I'm probably just going to leave that for the time being. I don't think that needs to be its own orchestration. And so then we're just going in HTTP request. So if I just do a write output, just making sure that we null out anything so it doesn't return anything that should into the pipeline. So once we've done that, let's just, what's this? I don't know why I called it starting at starting. Like so. So starting get user, starting activity, get user with username, blah. So I'm just going to do it that way. And then if we go, not that one, scrape web post. Rename that, so grab that with ID, and then we can just say ID like that. So that basically gets me my user, that gets me my content. So that then means that when we in here in our main block, all we need to do that's going to be our actual HTTP check. This is pretty confusing right now. So essentially what we do here, so what we can do here is do this. So we can start it. Now we don't technically need to have a parallel task for this. So what we can do, I'm just trying to remember how do we pass the context through, because that was, you can pass context in, so essentially we just pass in the username. Oh, it's been so long. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, VS Visual Studio. Task. I'm just gonna have a quick look at C# because it'll be exactly the same. While waiting on that to load, I'm just gonna call this task. I don't think you need to do that, so we're gonna go invoke activity function name. I'm just gonna call this get user input. Gives context something, and then we're just going to go, I can't remember exactly what it is there. We can just put an output here, like so. So what's the output? What's it write back? When we do get user, what's it write back? It writes HTTP request. So I'm just going to call it that, just to keep things consistent. So fires in here we've got yeah, jeez. I'm just trying to remember what I did here. It's been so long. Got invoke request. Okay, so run orchestrator. So it's taking the context in. So we use get input. So I think that's the same thing. We call the get input. Is that a method? Yeah, so essentially, I believe I'm going to take a guess that it's this. And I think it's just going to automatically be as a string. We will need to test that, so I'm going to take a peek inside of context. All right, sweet. So once we've done that, now we've got our tasks. We've got our requests. We need to now, so we're going to catch our user. Then we're going to pass that into fetch our users posts. So essentially what we're going to do here, we're going to do a similar thing here. So, but what we're going to need to do is take this, literally gutting everything. It's pretty funny. So you take that, and then we need to gut this to make it So essentially we're going to go through each of our HTTP requests. We need to build out our tasks. Ultimately, we can just invoke the activity function and pass it through. That's what we might do. So let's... so we've got HTTP request, load the HTML, format it, exclude any objects, yeah. Exclude through each of the posts, start the function. Then we have input. So input in this instance will be post. And then we need to start scrape web post like so. Bin all this. We don't need any job manager. And then we actually need to wait for our response. Now in get sentiment, we say user post.add. So what we're going to do, okay. So we're just going to call this output. We'll just call it output. And then what we're going to do, you know what? I'm just going to pipe it. I'm just going to pipe it. See, I've got to put the tasks. Waiting for the task. So I might need to write some adjustments. I think we also need to create a task so we can know what the parallel tasks are. That should be pretty easy. I think either this is going to return something that we can pretty much just increment, or we just manually construct it. That's fine. So once we've scraped our web post, I'm just going to have a quick squeeze at yeah, so it's going to, this is just going to return items. So I'm just going to call this tasks. I'm just going to call this parallel tasks. And essentially, it's not the best. I'm just going to do this. Go like that. Create a base array, and then we're just going to pretty much just dynamically add to it. Like so. Plus equals, not the best, but it'll work. And then we just wait for it. Done. So that's fixed. So now what we need to do is I'm just having a quick look and get sentiment. So what we're going to do is pretty much grab all that, wait for that, and then it just pushes output. So we'll need to take a peek inside of this, and then it's just it'll just add to that. So I'm just trying something at the moment. Oh. For each object, then we can just go to string. Okay, if we do that, then we should just be able to do this. Add. That should be it. Ooh. Actually, that might not be it, because if it doesn't have the... No, we're going to need to do this, because essentially that's a completely different... object. That should be fine. So let's just leave that. And then, so essentially now we've... I'm just going to say wait and add the results to the collection. Cool. So once we've done that, get rid of all that. So the final thing is to send it off to the user. Send it off to Azure for sentiment. So what we can do here, so if I have a quick look at, essentially it's just get sentiment. So what we can do here is we should really trigger an activity for this, to be honest. So we can just go invoke activity, might quickly, and then what I'm going to do, no, I'm just going to copy get user, paste, and then we're just going to rename this. I'm going to call it get sentiment. I'm just going to say get Azure sentiment, like so. And then what we can do here is we just say function name, do that. Now we've got our input. So what we need to do is it doesn't really need much. It takes the user post and the username. So what we can do is go get Azure Sentiment, go over here. Do we need to do any initialization anymore? I don't think we need to do, we actually need to load it. So we don't need to actually do any of that. And we can just say that. We can say user posts. I'm literally just being a bit lazy here. And then we can just say username. So body. I can just do that. That's fine. We can just say that. That's perfect. So now, if we go back to start sentiment collection, we're doing get sentiment. So we can say invoke that, and then we just pass these through like so. And then we can just pass it as a body, like so. Now if we go back and have a quick look at what the body is, we can just then return the body. So we can just say what we're also going to do, I'm going to add a quick log event here. Like so I can keep track of that. So you can see it writes the output of the body. That's all good, and that's good. Once we've done that, we can pretty much go from there. So we're going to need to take a peek inside of context because I think it's get input, but I'm not just going from what C Sharp's doing, but I'm not entirely sure. So we've done that. I'm just kind of, now we've got get sentiment, which is just a, now going to you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm just going to call these acts. Actually, I'm just going to call them activity underscore. Just so I know what type they are, because things are going to get really messy, and I think this is just an easy way to kind of keep track of everything. So I'm just going to call that durable. So like so. Oh wait, no, that's in the wrong spot. That should be up here. In the wrong directory. We don't need that. Okay, so now I need to quickly change this and just prefix everything. All right, cool. All right, so that's good to go. So the next thing we need to do is start sentiment. So we've got dribble sentiment, start sentiment collection. We need to actually have a HTTP start. And to be honest, I'm just going to leave it as get sentiment. So how does it? Because ultimately it's going to return that object. Let me have a quick look at what the archive says. Fan out, fan in, orchestrator. Because it's a HTTP start. Keep that open. Close. Let's close all this. So it does have a durable client thing. That's fine. What I'm going to do is just copy that. And then what we're going to do is paste that in here. Delete that. Off you go. Get rid of that. Rename that. So once we've done that, we only need to do get, so we're not doing any posts. Out. Type as HTTP out response. That's perfectly fine. Now, the difference between this and the durable function, the normal HTTP function, is that you have to poll the endpoint with the actual that instance query. If you don't do that, you're pretty much not going to get anything back. So it'll immediately trigger and then return, and that's perfectly fine. But what isn't fine is that expecting the outcome. So what we're going to do now is pretty much grab all that, get rid of all that, and then what we're going to do is go here to get sentiment. What? Why is profile.ps1 in here? Doesn't need to be there. That can go. What the hell? that can go. That can go. Don't need that. Don't need that. Those are the only things we need. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is... Actually, no, .NET. Might need to add those bindings. I'm going to rename this, and I'm just going to copy this and paste it locally. I'm just going to work with this one for the time being. Just a little worried about these activities, so I'm just going to add those namespaces just in case. Give it archive. Alright, so I've done that. So, yeah. Add this as well. What was it? System.net. I'm just going to add them all. I don't think we need it because essentially it was a job, but this is just being sure. Alright, so I've done that. Now what we can do is go back to our archive, get our start. I'm just going to copy this. Add that, paste that. And then what we can do here, actually I can just rename this to PS1. So we can, so you still got all your content there. How did we pass it in? That's another thing. So it retrieved it. How did we pass it in? Where's the HTTP start here? There's a HTTP start. JSON. Okay, we just pass it in as wait a starter. Okay, so we just passed it in. Start new async. Into it. Okay, cool. So all we need to do here is go start new orchestration. Function name, and we're just going to call this. Actually, I like the word orchestrator, but I'm actually going to do that. Call it start sentiment orchestrator. Input object, we're just going to pass in. Grab all that. So it'll get the username. Started. Start completed. So what we can do here is let's grab our old username, pop that in like that, and that should be it. That should be it. That should be converted into durable functions. But let's see if this works. Let's hope it works, because actually, to be honest, I don't think it's going to work. I think we're going to have a lot of errors that we need to troubleshoot, but that's all part of the fun. So let's give this a go. So first things first, let's just see if it launches. Yeah. Fair few errors. That's a good start. Worker failed to function. Okay, so we don't have so many functions that are fine. 5 functions loaded. Okay, so it only shows us HTTP. It showed them all, but apparently not. Okay. Let's see. It's going to trigger it first. We should get. Okay, cool. So that's triggered the parent function. So it's triggered this function, and we just tested that line of code. Sorry, that code path. So if we go username equals max power 443. Oh, that's 344. Whoops. That's probably going to break catastrophically. But we have this now. So if we actually that send event post status get query get, that's what we want. So I'm just going to copy that. So you can see you're going to input, it's completed. I honestly don't think it's completed. I think it's triggered a whole bunch of things and it's just not gotten anything. But that's a good thing. Okay, so we got a ton of errors to deal with here. A lot of errors, it seems like. A lot. All right, that's cool. Let's start breaking out the debugger. So let's go ahead and start our function. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a wait debugger on the Orchestrator start. So the first thing we need to do is have a bit of a peek inside of here. So let's go ahead and start our function out. Attach the powerful show functions. And let's, no input binding. Okay, we will cross that bridge when we get to it. So the next thing we need to do is hopefully this is able to, and we should have, like, how the hell do we debug it? Because usually just trigger it and it'll touch and debug. So that's, doing what it's doing. Do that. Might need to put a wait debugger here. How does it say we need to debug it? I'm just gonna have a quick squiz. Let's debug it. Okay, so it's time to debug your. It's time to run your first. Search and run debug. Select and start debugging command. A list of function apps will appear. Okay. So we need to start it and then we attach into it. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, cool. So what we need to do here is kill this. Yeah, that's fine. Fine. So start. So now if we re-trigger this, and then open the command palette again, search for debug and select start debugging command. So if we go to command palette, go to command palette, what are we looking for? Debug. So that's the command palette. What's the command palette? Where's the command palette? Configurations. Okay. It's not there. Okay, maybe I need to stop this. So let's go back to the oh no, that's remote debugging. We're not remote debugging. Okay, using the command palette again, search for and run the debug start debugging command. I don't work out how this is. No, that's remote debugging. Attach to PowerShell functions. Yeah, that's. Debugging is always one of these things that's really finicky, I've found. It doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna have a quick look at the debug configurations because I didn't copy that. So let me go ahead and have a quick look at that. What do you have there, mate? What do you have there? I'm just going to literally replace our debug configurations. Where is it? Here it is. Please. Thank you. What is that? What do we have in here now? Okay. I don't particularly like that. I'm going to undo that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Git Kraken. I'm going to view the changes. I'm going to discard all the changes in that folder, reset those files. So we should get our settings back. So if we go back and have a look now, we should have our settings back, which we do. So if we have a quick squiz of what's in here, extensions, so that's fine. Just having a quick look side by side here. The VS Code, that's fine. Where we go here. So we've got attached PowerShell functions, attach ROM space. That's standard. Oh, settings. What do we got? Settings. Okay, so settings is different. Settings is different. So we probably want to fix that. And then we have a task, so we can add the tasks. Okay, let's go ahead and give that a go. You see here it's actually triggering those orchestrations, and that's because we need to clear out our existing storage configuration from our storage. We need to configure. We need to remove the entries from our storage account. So, but I'm not really too concerned about that at the moment, even though it might cause issues down the line. But it can just stay as it is. So the next thing we need to focus on is trying to attach to this. So it says on the command palette, search for and run debug and start debugging. Let's just try that. And then it says a list of function apps will appear. Select the function chaining. So what we're going to do, I'm going to relaunch. I'm going to relaunch this. This is just running locally. I'm just interested. Okay, so I might need to. Oh, I'm going to need to reconfigure my Docker instance so that it is able to access this directly. Oh, okay. Let's do that. This is going to kill that. That's fine. I'm just going to shut it down and then it'll kill my Docker. Get code copies. Now I should be able to relaunch this in container. So I'm just going to reload it in the container. I'm just going to run it in functions PowerShell 6 and then it'll build anyway. So I just want to see what happens. Is this a local instance or is this just running in a container? Like, I don't think there's going to be an issue with running in a container, but it's probably worth checking. All right, so that's working. Let's go ahead and have a look at this. Okay. Don't think this is the best idea, but we're going to basically attach it to our existing storage because why not? What I'm going to do is do I still have it open? I do. I'll just copy it from here. So what we can do is minimize that, paste that. And let's go ahead and restart. It's going to terminate and restart. New terminal, please. Function start. Okay. So I also need to do our workaround, which is install extensions. Actually, no, I can do it through the debugger. The debugger will do it for me. We can just try this. Debug PowerShell, switch to a PowerShell. Has started. Please wait for the starting. It's not starting. That's what I'm saying. It's the integrate. Okay. Let's just reopen it locally, and then I'm just going to reopen it in the container. Where's my preview? Oh, where's my... Alright. I actually need to go and find... What was it? It was a... That's what allows extensions. Should add that to our Docker image, to be honest. Where's my Docker image anyway? Dev container, Docker file, what do we got? French and PowerShell, blah 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 blah. Getting that, install all that. Switch back to the dialog, ad hoc apt-get. Is it running PowerShell anyway? Because I can just kind of slot it in. I think it is. Oh. Reload it. It's not hurting anyone. Okay, so that's done. Might as well get function start. So let me debug this bad boy. Running like what? Does function app running? Expected exceeded language worker restart track. Showing our functions. Post. Okay. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. Oh well, that's all good. Okay. Probably because I'm attached to the same storage account, and I don't think it's gonna like that. Then why is it not playing ball? That's the question. Why is it not playing ball? Why? Like, debugging is always the most painful thing in this. I've always found it has issues, but it's also 90. Like, I would say it's 10%. 10% just, you know, we're using really beta products, and 90% me. So, yeah, that's always makes it a little bit. Yeah, it always makes it a little bit more fun. Always makes it more fun. All right, so let's keep cracking on. So that's fine. So it says, yeah, run that. I don't think it attached to PowerShell functions. Using the command palette again. Search and it's always interesting because I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna come back here. Get rid of that Docker file. Just gonna close everything and going to. What else do we have in here? I don't see it. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna. I have no idea where it is. I do not know where that is. Cannot run or debug a PowerShell script until the PowerShell session has started. What? Till the PowerShell session to finish starting and try again. Okay. We could just go ahead and run it. Like, I'm guessing we can't. No, we can. I think I'm going to need to go and crack open Storage Explorer and go clean out all that extra junk. Oh, look at that! Only took that long. Wow, okay. Well, we're in. I don't know how the hell that happened, but okay. We're debugging. That's good. But now I need to actually go through and clear out all the content because I'm worried about that. When you have so many of these jobs started inside the actual in the storage account, it pretty much kind of breaks everything. Let's file share because I'm trying to think. Just having a quick look in the queue. No data. There should be entries in there. Is there any block containers? What are you using? Because apparently I have 2 storage accounts. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. Oh, okay. Okay, there's a lot of. If that's the case, I'm just gonna reattach it to the other one. That's fine. I'll fix that up. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in there. All right. Well, while we're waiting, let's have a look at this because I've got 20 minutes and I want to have a play around. Good start. You can't actually peek inside of context. Like, literally cannot peek inside of context. I think it's crashed Visual Studio Code. No, it hasn't. Oh, I don't know what I've just done. I don't want to split terminal. I want to get rid of... Oh my goodness, what the hell's going on out there? I was going to close these down. Close that down. But that's completely locked up, like... Okay, let's try and take another look. Nah, we cannot, under any circumstances, pull that stuff. That's really disappointing. I can't at all do anything. I can step, but I can't query anything. So what's context? Who knows? Yep. Get your guesses is going to be as good as mine, guys. Can we see what's in HTTP tasks or HTTP requests? Don't even know there. Far out. Okay, this is super beta. Yeah, that's broken a lot of things, I reckon, because I can't query anything. Like, this is completely useless. Like, I physically, without having to actually do a write. I wonder if I can do a... Like, I can't see any output unless I can... I'm guessing it's the way that... Let's try this. Right host A. No, we can't run anything Oh, this is going to be hard. Oh, fun times ahead. Yeah, fun times ahead. Alrighty, well, I think we're going to leave it there for today because I'm kind of ready to. I've got to go do some other things today. But that is a really good outcome. I'm semi-happy with it. So I think we'll just leave it there for today. But thank you for joining. I hope you guys had fun. I hope there was something learnt today. Obviously, the super preview nature of Dribble functions for PowerShell. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, next couple of weeks. I'm just gonna have a quick look at my calendar. Is going to be insanely busy for me. I honestly don't know what I'm going to be able to stream. I might be able to stream maybe in, from the 25th next month because I am really busy at the moment. So I've got a lot of things to do in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, we're probably just going to be pushing it back till then, but that's a bit of a shame because I kind of want to get this sorted. I do have another project on the pipeline, which I kind of want to add some cool stuff to, which is we're going to be playing around with a specific API function. Oh, sorry, a function, and we're going to be using a specific module, which I'm not going to particularly release yet. We're going to play around with that. We'll see if we're going to do some automate some of that process as well. So that potentially that module as a bit of a hint starts around to do with an award that's been given by Microsoft for community contributions. So if you, so that'll be in the next couple of, I'm guessing that's going to be the next project in the pipeline, which I really want to work on because there's some things that I really want to do because I think we can add a lot more functionality onto the module itself to make people's lives easier. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll see you guys around. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break because of personal things. And yeah, we'll see you guys then. But anyway, bye-bye. Bye for now.